Hey, look, I know you're tired today, Lions fans, but wasn't that worth it to stay up last night?
You are Locked On Lions, your daily Detroit Lions podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, let's do this, everyone. It is a Tuesday edition of Locked On Lions right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Matt Derry with you on a Tuesday, September the 23rd, and a Wednesday, September the 24th. We like to call this around these parts Victory Tuesday. Lions continue to dominate in prime time, 4 straight Monday night wins under Dan Campbell, 2-1 record as they sit comfortably tied with the Packers of Green Bay and the Minnesota Vikings at 2-1 atop the division after last night's impressive 38-30 win over the Baltimore Ravens. We're going to get into it and just how fans and everybody should be feeling about what we saw last night was an unbelievable performance at M&B or M&T Bank Stadium. PFF grades, we've got those. Al-Qadim Muhammad, who got a game ball last night in the locker room from Dan Campbell. His story is remarkable. What he has come back from. 2 pretty bad looks for him when he was in the league earlier in his career. Now 30 years old, thriving with the Lions. And we got to talk a little bit about a player that was bloodied last night and yet didn't come out of the game. And maybe it's somebody that is on a Pro Bowl trajectory this season. We'll get into all of that coming up right here on Locked On Lions. Thanks for making us your first listen. Thanks for finding us on our Locked On Lions YouTube channel. Over 16,000 subscribers. If you're watching, if you're listening, we thank you. Our everydayers that are with us daily, we appreciate you as well. Yahoo Sports, Andrew Siciliano. Tomorrow, he's also the voice of the Cleveland Browns on the radio side. He's got 17 different podcasts that he does. We'll have Andrew on tomorrow. Thursday crossover with Spencer German, who hosts Locked On Browns, as Detroit will head back home and face the juggernaut Browns, fresh off a big win over the Green Bay Packers this weekend on an Andre Schmidt 55-yard field goal, 13-10. Browns offense is absolute buns, but their defense is really good, led by former Lions head coach Jimmy Handshake himself, Jim Schwartz, coming back to the Motor City. We'll get into all of that this week right here on Locked On Lions. But last night, man, we had a show last night, late night. If you missed it, check it out, the immediate reaction to last night's game. But, I'm trying to sit here and think of a better win in the Dan Campbell era than what I witnessed on Monday night. And there have been some good ones. All right. To open up the season 2 years ago against the Kansas City Chiefs on a Thursday night. And I know Kelsey didn't play, and I know Chris Jones didn't play, and there were this asterisk talk and all of that. There were a lot of really good wins under Dan Campbell. Last year, week 18, over Minnesota, where the winner was going to win the division. And you had 2 14-win teams squaring off, and the Lions absolutely pantsed the Vikings. To win in Houston last year on Monday Night Football or Sunday Night Football. Coming back from down, 21-0, whatever it was. Horrible first half. And to get Jake Bates to hit not one but 2 50-yard plus field goals, 1 to tie, 1 to win. Great win. But last evening, we saw something that I don't think anybody expected. And that is a Baltimore Ravens team that is physical, that is tough, that is talented, getting absolutely shoved time and time again by the Lions front. Whether it was on the offensive side, the defensive side, just a dominant performance in the trenches. And you got to pinch yourself a little bit. I was looking at the ESPN power rankings today. Our buddy Michael Spath, one of our everydayers, pointed this out to me. The Lions, after week 1, and again, power rankings after week 1, I don't put a lot of stock into. But right now, the ESPN power rankings have Philadelphia, 3-0, number 1. And there are a lot of 3-0 teams. Buffalo, number 2, 3-0. The Lions, number 3 at 2-1. Up 2 spots from last week where they were 5th. Now, part of the article was Eric Woodyard, and I like Eric. covers the team here locally for ESPN. Biggest issue on defense, pass rush outside of Aiden Hutchinson. I come on, E. I like Eric Woodyard. He's good. Biggest issue on defense is not the pass rush outside of Aiden Hutchinson. Not after 7 sacks last night and 2 and a hook from our guy, Al-Qadim Muhammad. The biggest issue on this defense is Terrion Arnold. The hope is that he grows. He continues to get better. He had a really good second half last night. He was targeted twice last night. There were 2 official targets at him last night in the first half. He gave up 2 completions for 44 yards and, of course, had the pass interference call going up against DeAndre Hopkins. Now, I know many of you saw DeAndre Hopkins did kind of grab Terrion's face mask. Well, in the second half, 1 target at him, no catches. So Terrion had a much better second half, but he, to me, is the biggest issue. But like I said, the power rankings, which is my bigger story here, you've got Detroit at 3, Philly at 1, Buffalo at 2, Chargers 3-0 at 4, Packers at 5 at 2-1, Bucks 3-0 at 6, Baltimore, despite being 1-2, are 7th, Rams 2-1 at 8, Kansas City 1-2 at 9, Commanders at 10. Lions are still a top 3 team. The statement that they made last night was so impressive. There's so many different ways to go, but as a fan, all right, and I'm a fan, and you're a fan, and we're obsessed with this team, right? That's a really difficult place to win under the lights. You got a team that has put up 40 points in back-to-back games. You got a team that does not, give up a lot of rushing yards and haven't for decades. And how good Roquan Smith and Jenkins, and I know they were missing guys. And I don't want to hear that, by the way. The Lions did great against the Ravens, but they didn't have Kyle Van Noy and they didn't have Matt Abike. Well, the Lions don't have Onwuzurike, don't have Aleem McNeil, don't have Josh Pascal, don't have Levi Onwuzurike, don't have Malcolm Rodriguez. Lions have some pretty good players on their roster on the defense. Did I say Josh Pascal? I think I did. That are not playing right now, that are injured. Kirby Joseph came in last night's game with a groin or quad injury and was questionable, and you could tell he wasn't 100%. So I don't want to hear that. But the Lions manhandled Baltimore. And the video that came out after the game, Dan Campbell talking about it. AFC is always considered the class of the league. People say, the AFC is so stacked. Baltimore and Kansas City and Buffalo and Pittsburgh's always good every year, and Cincinnati's good, and the Chargers are good, and Denver's good. People talk. That's how people talk. And the NFC is kind of thought of as the JV, right? Now, the JV beat the varsity last year in the Super Bowl. Philadelphia upset the Chiefs, and the Eagles are off to a 3-0 start. But that was a heck of a win last night. And your quarterback is just taking the next step, which nobody thought Jared Goff could do. His precision, pinpoint, everything is phenomenal. Watch the wide receivers. Go back and watch the game or find the All-22 tape on whatever website you can find it on. Watch Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jamison Williams block. Jamison Williams, from a numbers standpoint, couple of catches or something, no big deal. Watch Jamison Williams block downfield for his teammates in the run game. Jamo is one heck of a blocker for a wide receiver. Watch Sam Laporta and Brock Wright. And Dan Campbell mentioned Brock Wright today as one of the players he wanted to highlight. Brock Wright was dominant blocking for David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs last night. Just dominant. So it's a team performance. When we get to the PFF grades, I'm going to tell you about Penei Sewell because it was historic last night, what he did. Historic. And that's how you win. Week 1, bad communication. Guys hadn't played together. They were in Green Bay. They were unprepared. They weren't themselves. Last 2 weeks, they have absolutely worn out the other team. They blitzkrieged the Bears. They dominated the Ravens last night. I know the score is a little bit closer than it was, but man, just awesome. Lion fans should be so ecstatic, pinching themselves over what they saw last night. That's the Ravens. They're loaded. That's a damn good team. And Detroit just kicked their butts. It was awesome. Absolutely great. All right. Coming up next, let's tell you what Pro Football Focus thought of the Lions' performance, the top 5 and bottom 5 on offense and defense from last night's big Monday Night Football win over the Baltimore Ravens. We'll do that coming up next right here on a Tuesday, Locked On Lions. Caffeine just got a flavor upgrade. 5-hour energy shots deliver tasty caffeine in 17 bold flavors. Each 2-ounce shot packs the caffeine of a premium 12-ounce cup of coffee, plus B vitamins and nutrients with 0 sugar and 0 crashes. What I love most is how portable they are. Big taste, tiny shot. You can take it anywhere and get that boost when you need it. All right. 5-hour energies flavors are all really, really good. All right. Very, very good. But to me, just your basic lemon lime is the best. All right. Refreshing, gives you that quick lift before a busy day. And it kicks in and it's sugar-free. So you don't have to worry about crashing later. Enough with boring, flavorless coffee. It's time to give your coffee a flavor upgrade with a 5-hour energy shot. Get the favorites you love or be bold and try something new in-store and online at 5hourenergy.com. That's www.5hourenergy.com or on Amazon today. Got to give a shout out to my guy, Alex Urban, Eat 'em Up Tigers podcast. I went on there yesterday with those guys, he and Jordan, and check them out. We previewed the big, humongous Tigers Guardians series that is taking place starting this evening at beautiful Progressive Field. Tigers have a 1-game lead. They got Scooble going tonight against Gavin Williams. Man, if you love baseball, you love pennant races last week of the season, you'll be certainly into this. Although I know for a lot of you Lions fans, you're livid with the Tigers and how they've been playing over the last few weeks. All right, Pro Football Focus. What did they think of last night's performance as the Lions knocked off the Baltimore Ravens 38-30 to get to 2-1? Next up, by the way, the Lions will play the Browns this Sunday at 1 o'clock, and then the Bengals next Sunday at 4:25. It is 3 straight games against the AFC North. And of course, the Bengals got embarrassed on Sunday by Minnesota. Jake Browning-led Bengal offense was brutal. Too many turnovers. Isaiah Rodgers returned an interception and a fumble back for a touchdown. The Vikings embarrassed the Bengals. All right, PFF. What did they think? What did they think of the Lions' performance last night offensively? Your top 5 Lions on offense in their 8-point win over the Ravens. 5th best grade went to Taylor Decker, left tackle. Continues to miss time in practice as he's been bothered by a bevy and variety of injuries, including a bad shoulder, yet finished with an 82.9 grade. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 4th highest, 86.9. David Montgomery, just a beast, 151 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns, a grade of 89.5. Tate Ratledge, you love to see this from the rookie. The right guard, a 91.4 grade, dominating performance, but maybe the best I've ever seen. Penei Sewell finished with a 98.7 grade and a run blocking grade of 99.3, which is a record, highest ever for an offensive lineman to get a run blocking grade of 99.3, 7/10 away from a perfect 100. Man, is Penei Sewell just special? He's special. As far as the lowest grades on offense for the Lions, Isaac Tisla, 46.7 was the lowest. Khalif Raymond, second lowest at 56. Brock Wright, 61, which isn't that bad. Jamison Williams, 63.2. And Graham Glasgow, 63.8. But let me tell you something. Those are decent numbers for being the low point of the Lions on offense. Defensively, 5th highest graded Lion, on defense. And I'm going to go with a minimum of 10 snaps. Minimum of 10 snaps. So Trevor Nowaski graded out well, and so did Zach Cunningham. Cunningham played 2 snaps, and Trevor only played 8. So we're going to go with the regulars here. Fifth best grade was Kirby Joseph at a 63.2. Al-Qadim Muhammad, 74.5. Jack Campbell, 80.1. DJ Reed, huge. Took away Zay Flowers, 83.0. And Aiden Hutchinson, once again, at the top of the 91.8. As far as the lowest graded Lions defensively, let's go from 5th to 1st. Roy Lopez, 49. Brian Branch, a little bit of a surprise here, 45.7. Got to be one of the lower grades Branch has ever had. Terrion Arnold, 45.1. Amik Robertson, 38.7, second lowest. And the lowest graded Lion defensively, Patrick O'Connor, 34.9. So those are your top 5 and bottom 5 Lions on offense and defense from Pro Football Focus from last night. Now, we mentioned before, Al-Qadim Muhammad, 2.5 sacks, finished with a grade of 74.5 and a pass rush grade of, 75. A good night for AQM. Think about this for a second. Al-Qadim Muhammad was out of football a year ago. And so on the video that the Lions put out on their social media, Dan Campbell handed out 2 game balls after the game last night in the locker room. One went to David Montgomery, and the second one went to Al-Qadim Muhammad, who finished with 2.5 sacks, two more tackles for a loss. He had a monster game, filling in for the injured, old bit, Marcus Davenport. Al-Qadim Muhammad, all right, has played on 5 NFL teams. He's 30 years old. He was drafted in the 6th round by the Saints in 2017. Barely played as a rookie. Then he was waived by the Saints, did not make the team in 2018. It was picked up by the Indianapolis Colts. All right. Practice squad for the first season in 2018. Didn't play much in 2019. In 2020, Al-Qadim Muhammad, on a Thursday night game, got ejected for punching one of the Tennessee Titans offensive linemen and stayed with the Colts for 1 more year. Didn't play much in 2021. Bears signed him to a 2-year deal, 1 year in Chicago, and then let go there. Went back to the Colts in 2023, cut, signed to the practice squad, and then in December of 2023, Muhammad was suspended for 6 games for PEDs. All right. And the Colts let him go. Didn't even sign him to a futures contract after the season. August last year, Cowboys signed him. He was let go 27 days later. Signed on August 1st, let go on August 28th. Didn't make the team. He sat out at the start of last season for a full month and was signed to the Lions practice squad off the street October the 7th. Played and was promoted on November 9th. Played in 9 games, started 2, had 3 sacks, and the Lions brought him back this year in March. But this is a guy that punched an opponent in a game a few years ago, got ejected. So he had a bit of a reputation. Busted for PEDs a couple of years ago. And as he said, as he got that game ball from Dan Campbell, and the video is emotional. It's awesome. You see Brad Holmes behind him, just so happy for this young man, right? Who's getting another opportunity, who's joined his 5th team, who flamed out in New Orleans, flamed out with the Bears, flamed out with the Cowboys, flamed out with the Colts twice, and now has found a home in Detroit. He's getting an opportunity to start with the Davenport injury. And he said to his teammates, thank you guys for being there for me. And a year ago at this time, I was sitting on my couch hoping the phone would ring. And now on Monday Night Football, he's chasing Lamar Jackson down. It's a great story. Is he the answer? Is he number one Opposite of Hutchinson, is he going to be the guy from here on out? I don't know about that. It's kind of a journeyman, but you know what? Last night was his night to get a game ball on Monday Night Football and to thank his teammates and to thank all the guys in the D-line room and to talk about his story. I loved it. I loved it. That is what football, that is what professional football, pro sports, that's what it's about. The camaraderie, the winning a game together as a group. There's no better. And I love baseball. Don't get me wrong. All right. But there's no better team sport than NFL football, and just putting your everything out on the line for 60 minutes. And I thought it was a really cool story, and something I wanted to share with the listeners about Al-Qadin Muhammad, who hopefully keeps this going because they need him. All right, coming up next, something happened last night that was incredible. He stayed in the game, and if you saw the pictures on Grant Stewart's Instagram of Jack Campbell and the laceration on his lip, this guy played bloodied for like the entire fourth quarter, and he's on his way to being maybe a Pro Bowl player. We'll get into that coming up next here on a Tuesday, Victory Tuesday, Locked on Lions. Hey, but what about our friends at FanDuel? The NFL season is here, and FanDuel is making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. You love using FanDuel. Why? Because it's however you like to bet, they've got it. Player props, building a same-game parlay, or even jumping in live as the action unfolds. It makes every game more exciting, whether you're watching your team or just keeping an eye on your fantasy lineup. And it's quick and easy. The best way to add a little more energy to your Sundays. All right? Are you ready to play? It is that simple. You download the FanDuel app by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. Oh, man, always love being with you right here on Locked On Lions on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every single day. Do not forget as well. Thank you for making Locked On Lions your first listen of the day. The NFL season, as we know, is finally here. But for your second listen, get a double dose on the Locked On NFL podcast. Tyler Rowland gives you a shot of espresso to start your football day, while my boy Tony Wiggins, takes you inside the barbershop for the smoothest breakdowns to end the day. Find Locked On NFL on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. All right, so let's do the business here. Man, Jack Campbell got a laceration on his lip last night and was bloodied, hardcore bloodied. And today, Dan Campbell brought it up, and I want to read this quote because I absolutely loved it, talking about Jack Campbell. First of all, he led the team in tackles again with 8. He's everywhere the first 3 weeks. He is playing middle linebacker at a very, very high level. Dan Campbell at his Tuesday press conference today did say on Jack Campbell, quote, "First of all, did anyone see Jack's lip? He got a laceration. The defense loved it. He's at the end of the game trying to call plays and blood spitting out everywhere. And they were just eating it up. He's a stud, man. He's a workaholic. The knowledge for the game, the way he studies for the game, he prepares for it. He's just playing at a really high level right now. We feel like the guy can do it all. That's why he didn't even come off the field. I mean, he can do everything for us. He's all ball, man, and whatever you need, he can do." Jack Campbell's the one that made that play on the 4th down and goal in the first half to stop Lamar Jackson in his tracks and force that fumble that DJ Reed nearly picked up. But we talk a lot about Aiden Hutchinson, all right? We talk a lot about the 2 safeties that the Lions have that are arguably the best safety tandem in the game in Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch. DJ Reed was picked up in the offseason and so far has been as advertised as a corner. Week 1, everybody sucked, but since, very, very good. And DJ Reed last night held Zay Flowers in check. Alex Anzalone, we talk about the Gaines Media poster boy. Aleem McNeil gets a lot of run. We talk about the edge rusher opposite of Aiden Hutchinson. But I don't think we spend enough time talking about a guy that was a first-round pick a couple years ago, right? Along with Jamison Williams, Jack Campbell along with Jahmyr Gibbs, Jack Campbell went in the first round. And when he was taken, yours truly, all right, not a hater, but just saying, I said, what are the Lions doing tonight? A running back at 12 and an inside linebacker at 20? Could have gotten Jack Campbell later on in the draft. From Iowa, he's not bad, but first round, you're taking a middle linebacker? Yes, that's what Brad Holmes did, because this guy is an absolute stud. And to play with a bloodied lip, to not come out of the game, to finish top 5 in PFF, Jack Campbell so far this season, a 74 grade, his highest grade of the year was last night with the 80. But his run defense right now is at a 90 grade. He's fantastic against the run. And he plugs holes, and he's there greeting a Derrick Henry or a Lamar Jackson with force. That's the kind of player you want in the middle of your defense. And we talk about the identity of the Lions, right? Gritty, hard-nosed. Alex Anzalone has been on the team for 5 years. They took the green dot, no knock on Alex. They put the green dot on the helmet of Jack Campbell this year and said, run this defense. And all he has done has gotten better every year. Again, he was taken at 18, not 20, in the first round in 2023. And in year 3, you see the progression. You see how tough he is. He's faster than you think. And he's a guy to keep an eye on, man. He's playing at a very high level 3 weeks into the season. You absolutely love to see it. Andrew Siciliano going to join us tomorrow. The original host of the Red Zone. Give me this other garbage. Siciliano's the one that started it. He's also the radio voice of Cleveland Browns now. He's got the podcast on Yahoo. He's going to join us tomorrow right here on a Wednesday Locked On Lions. Thanks for making us your first listen, everybody, and checking us out wherever you get your podcasts.